Welcome to yet another episode of Salon Conversations, and today I have a really delightful woman. She is a full bottle. Sharlene's reputation in the Australian hair industry precedes her wherever she goes. Her zest for life, infectious positivity, and her understated savviness for leading salon industry business trends have truly set her apart from her peers. She has 30 years of experience as a salon owner, and Sharlene's crowning achievement lies in her two extremely successful salons within the Circles hair group in Western Australia, here in Australia. So the amount of awards that Sharlene has won is, I don't think anybody else has done the same. It's just incredible, actually. But that's not why I'm attracted to her. I'm attracted to her because she doesn't give a shit. She is herself 100%. She's no different any day of the week. And that's just who she is. And she says, like me or fuck off. And I really like that about her. She's very generous with sharing what's going on in her business, and that the wealth that she's made out of that business, the struggles and the things that she does really differently. And they are very different to the way that I run a salon. So what I really want you to tune into is her version of just being her. And I think we could all learn from that, me included. So sit back and listen to this wonderful podcast, because I think you'll be very entertained. Welcome to Salon Conversation. My name is Lisa Conway and I'll be your host. For many people, the salon is a space where you take time out for you. You chat with your stylist or your therapist about anything and everything, but most importantly, you leave feeling refreshed and beautiful. These are the types of conversations that I'm interested in. Sometimes these conversations are with a guest, and other times it's just going to be me. But I promise you, nothing is off the table, because we all love engaging salon conversations. So the reason I wanted to speak to you, and it's funny because we've been around in the industry a long time, the pair of us, but we haven't really, I think only one time did we cross paths. It was in Perth somewhere, and I don't know what it was.
Except Australian Hair Council, I think we all got together, and you were there and you were presenting, and we were there. You gave me your book.
Oh, there you go. Hope you opened it. Did you open it? No.
Yeah, I actually read it, and then I tagged you while I was in Bali, and you were like, "Good girl, you're reading."
Well, this is the problem with me. I get so much information, I can't hang on to it all. So I would have said, "Yeah, thank you," and I genuinely meant it on the day, and then go next. Actually, I do remember now that you mentioned it. I do remember, so thank you. Yeah, so it's good. And so the reason I reached out to you this time is I have to be really transparent. I find it difficult to find people that really amuse me or interesting to do a podcast with. I really do. And I don't know where they are. And I'm not saying they're not out there, but sometimes I chat to people and I think, oh, you'd be really good on a podcast. And then I put them on the podcast and they go all proper on me. They just, they just sort of, I don't know, they put their best foot forward or their filter shoes on. I don't know. And so I just think, oh, this is not what I wanted. But I do appreciate.
It's not raw or authentic or anything like that.
No, and I love that. Yeah. I just love, that's why I love this industry, because they're mad as cut snakes. I love it. So good. And so this is how I came to you. I was listening to podcasts because I want to work in the American market. I just do. I just love the Americans. Their industry is regulated and it's just got a really different feel about it, right? And the other thing that I like about working with American salons is there's 350 million Americans. So that means that it's a very different space, because you can niche in so many things. Like you can niche in so many things. Like I have a friend that I've met online, and her niche is she's a school teacher, and then she started to help the child kids at school, right? So then she realized that there was kids at school that needed particular help. So she's developed a job for herself, which she's niched into kids that get thrown out of court because of their parents' such poor behavior during divorce, right? So the court says, I can't sort this lot out. Can you take them? So she takes them and she sorts out and does all the mediation and teaches him and her, or her and him, to behave well around the best interest of the children. Then she takes them back to court. So she's made a job out of that. Like, we need that in Australia, but there's probably not enough work. Whereas when you have 350 million people, you can niche in whatever the fuck you want because there's enough demand. Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely. Wow.
Yeah,
That's
so it's
good. So you're
really,
going to move over there?
I don't know. I would like to go to maybe Costa Rica or somewhere which is like their version of Bali. Um,
Yeah,
because it would be really nice to still live in an island place like Bali because I love it. But I don't know that I could, I
yeah,
don't know if I want to live there. Kind of, I just got here, so let me settle to here first. But I think there's probably more travel for me in my plan, I think, at my age. So because I'm going
yeah.
back to the
And
story, I'll tell you how I found you.
and
I listened to a podcast, and because she had an English accent, it was Charlie from Western Australia,
Charlie, yeah,
and she was doing an
yeah. And it was the first podcast I ever did.
so good. It was the best. So I thought, I have to talk to her. I have to get her on my podcast. So that's why I've got you here. So go back. So go back to what you were going to ask me. I just felt like I at least have to finish that story because I do get off track. So tell me, what were you going to ask me then?
So how often do you do podcasts?
In the early days, I don't know how many there are there. In the early days when I first started, I was always on the search for a podcast. But I
Yeah.
probably haven't done, I've done a couple for other people who've reached out to me. One was a non-drinking one just recently with Clive Allwright. It's called the
Oh, yeah,
Straight Edge. So I just
yeah,
did that one. So no, it's my new thing. It's my new thing. It's like I'm back to that now because if I want to be known in America, it's one of the ways that I can get in front of their audience and then people can decide I like that chick or I don't. So podcast is my
yeah,
new.
yeah,
So I just started
yeah.
researching, and day one when I researched, I came across Charlie's. What's it called? Rebel something, is it? I can't remember what it's called.
The Rebel Salon.
Yeah, that's it. And so I found you. So I thought, oh, that's good. So it hasn't helped me with the American market, but I found you, and that's why you're here today. Because I could not stop laughing at your karma story about the salon. Because I think anyone who knows me just knows that I've just been in court over a coach who took clients. So
Yeah,
it's a real thing, and I don't know why. It happens a little bit in America, but not like it does here. I don't know if it's because of the gun laws that they might shoot you.
yeah,
But I don't know, or the fact that they're very is it word they legally people get sued all the time, whereas we don't. For me,
yeah,
to go to court was pretty outside the comfort zone. It wasn't a very common thing to do. Even the lawyer said, never had one of these in here before. So, whereas
yeah,
in America, yeah, they legally, everybody gets a turn. Make sense?
yeah,
So that's my plan.
yeah.
So that brings me up to today in my Bob Hawke hairdo. All right. So let me I want to hear the story because the couple of things really stood out in that podcast for me is one, the amount of income that comes into that salon weekly fascinated me, just filled my heart with joy because you shared what is a weekly income for circles. The little bit that I know about you is, and I know this because of being a judge at the awards for Linda Woodhead. So looking at people's
Yeah,
submissions on business and things like that, and then when I've seen yours, I think, fuck, how good's this? Like you go like this and you go, have a look. Do you want to have a look up my whatever report? Here, have a look up my whatever report. And you were so open, right?
yeah.
To sharing what your, average dollar sale or what your, all of your thing. And I think that's really lovely because I don't know, have you judged some of the other areas
No,
in
I've never done any judging, but I mean, I think this year, I think most salons owners were blown out when I started my shadowing program with salon owners that they fly into my salon and I tell them everything about my KPIs, how you can reach, 100 grand, 120, 130 in a week. How does that look like? Where do you want to be? If they want to, I share everything. And I don't think anyone in this industry that has ever shared so much that you come and we just talk about business. If you are a 30 grand salon, people get really stuck to how you get to that 40 grand and how do you get to that 50 grand. And this is where I get stuck in. So if I can help them with whatever platforms or back end or how to motivate staff or salon commissions, because we all know the industry is struggling with retaining and attracting staff, but how come I don't?
Good question.
You know what I mean? So I think it's been really good. And I just start because I had so many people asking me to mentor them, and I'm just not interested. I'm not that Zoom person. I like that touchy person, and I didn't really want to start mentoring it's not my vibe. My vibe is, if I can help other salons and you come and I give you everything you want in that 2 days, because we are, as salon owners, we are creatives. We're not that fantastic on our back end, and we don't think logically when it comes to business and numbers. So this is when I decided, fuck, let's do a shadowing program. Let's see how it is. I probably only get about 5 salons, and with one, and lucky I didn't put it on the circles page. I only put it on my personal page, which I don't have a lot of followers, and it just blew up, and I was totally booked out to the end of the fucking year. I was like, what the hell? Are you kidding me?
Well,
and it's going really well.
Well, clearly we need to look at your price point and whatever, but that's another story. What I want to talk to, and what comes to me when you say that, is there's just proof that it can be done. And I think a lot of people that I've worked with have no belief that it can be done. Like they're trying to do something that they don't know that it can be done, because people don't share. So there's a couple of problems there. People share so much, but then they hang on to the rest because you don't want to brag. This is an Australian problem too, is that when you brag, when you say, actually, I'm really fucking good at this, people go,
yeah.
And that's I do love that about Americans, is that there isn't any of that. It's fascinating, actually. Right. So then the other thing too is, if you brag about it, then it's almost like you rubbing shit on the others that aren't there, and I don't think that's the case, but it can make a person feel that they're not adequate or they're broken or something, like if you think about on socials, when people talk about, their brand new baby body because they just gave birth 6 weeks ago and they haven't got a fucking stretch mark. And I just think I'm really happy for you, and I am, but I just think that doesn't help others. I feel like that can be.
That's right. But I mean, I have got trolled. I just started my TikTok, and, I went on my TikTok to really motivate other salon owners and really give them a bit of a kick up the arse. And I think when I was in my Maserati and I said, do you guys want to drive a Toyota Corolla all your life? Or do you want to drive a Maserati? Well, this is what you need to do. You need to do this, and this. Otherwise, you can be driving a Toyota Corolla. I had so many people, I love my Toyota Corolla. I went, good on you, but not me.
Yeah, but I think that's the secret. Right? You can be you. Yeah, don't dull your shine down. Don't dull your shine down. But I also think if you've just given birth to a baby and you don't have that figure that looks like a personal trainer, well, fucking unfollow her. It's not her fault. She's allowed to have that amazing body because that's her. She made different to you.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly. And that's right. Everyone's, everybody, bodies are just so completely, we both work out very hard. I know what you do and what I do. We train every day and we're so bloody disciplined, and it's exactly the same in our personal life or in our business life. Consistency is the key.
Yeah, it is. And I want people to know I actually don't. I'm not a person who likes exercise. I don't,
Really?
No, I fucking hate it. If I could buy it in a shop, I'd buy it in a shop. The only reason I go is because of the benefits. But if I could get out of going, I have to have this conversation. So I've agreed to 3 sessions of 50 minutes a week. That's it. And I don't sweat when I'm there, right? That's it. So I've been absolutely blessed with a genetic body. But I also think I don't want to work that hard in the gym. It's not my job. Yeah. I rather do yoga. I rather do squats in my clothes. I don't want to get changed, go to the stinking gym, get sweaty, have to wash my hair, come home. Now I've got to have a lie down and I'm going to eat 3 times the amount of food because I'm so knackered. I can't see the point. It's not my joy, right? So I just want to clear that
Yeah.
up because people go, oh, yeah, but that's like her. She's a machine. Some people love it. And actually, I'm going to have my breast implants out next month because I'm really keen to learn to be cardio fit and jogging with these things on me. It's not good. So we're going to
Yeah.
move them. We're going to move them on now that I'm 60 and I'm interested in getting cardio fit. So just so people know, it's yes, you've worked hard at it. No. Oh, I shouldn't say I don't work hard at it. I do compared to people who don't do anything. Plus, I was 53 before I did anything. I don't know. Were you sporty
Yeah.
slots all your life?
No, yeah, pretty much. Not like when I was like 16, 17, but when I was in my 20s, definitely.
Yeah, no. I've never
Yeah.
raised a sweat. I didn't raise a sweat till maybe I actually only here in Bali because it's hot. If they could air condition that gym, I'd be
Are
happy.
you in Bali now?
Yeah, I live here now.
Are you in Bali?
Yeah, I moved here 4 months ago.
Whereabouts do you live?
Canggu.
In Canggu or?
Yeah,
Oh
Canggu.
my God, because I was in Bali with a couple of, I wish I bloody knew that.
Oh, well, you'll be
Oh,
back.
next time, no,
Yeah.
I will be back. We'll have to go out for dinner and catch up, definitely. Do you love
Well,
it, like living in Bali?
yeah, I do love it. And I knew you were here because Cameron said to me that he was going to
Yeah.
catch up with you. And I hadn't been here very long. And I said, oh, I can't be fucked getting my face on. So I didn't go. So I'll catch you next round. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going with actually that would be good. We should do something. There'll be me and 3 other salon owners from Perth.
Oh, good.
How
Yeah.
we get together, how we
Yeah.
get together and we just share, and we've been doing it for years, go on a holiday, and we just for a week we just
Look after
just
each
talk
other.
about business and
Yeah.
everything. Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah. So lovely. Yeah. No, I love living here. It's really cool. Very cool. All
Yeah.
right. So tell me when you first got your salon, go back to the beginning. How old were you? I think you were married and you bought a salon, which is the Circle Salons now. Or you tell it. You tell the story.
I do want to go back because, I'm just doing it's funny because I'm just doing my presentation for multi-million-dollar moves for Hair Festival.
Okay.
And I said to Laurie, why do you want to go back? And they said, just go back until you bought circles. So I said, okay, 1995. Half of you bastards weren't even born, but let's just go back to 1995. But way
I'd given
before
birth to 3 kids by then. 1995. It's only a little bit back, isn't it? Good on you.
ridiculous. So I was like, 1995, and they said, yeah, just tell the circle story. I said, okay, that's fine. But way before that, I did buy my first salon in Bunbury, which is 2 hours south of Perth, when I was 23.
Okay. And is that the one
Yeah.
where they did the number on you and stole the clients? Is that the one, the Bunbury one? No,
No, that was circles.
that was Circles. All right. Well, that's the story I want to hear because I am fascinated of the struggle that you went through, but you never gave up.
Yeah,
And that you actually did. And what I'm interested in, Charlene, is finding out, like some people struggle forever and then they have to shut it down or they get unwell, right? So I think there needs
yeah,
to be a period of time when you have to accept that you're never going to get this, right? But
yeah,
I think for you, there must have been something that kept you there because I find salon owners still want to hang on to it even when it's not making the money. It's really hard to get it off them. And I go, why? Why do you
yeah.
have all this stress in your life? Why don't you accept that, being a leader and making tough decisions and having to, be that person is not your joy. Because not everybody wants to do that. I don't have a problem with that. I'm happy to have my say. But some people have it's a holding back, and I think you've either got to learn it or decide it's not you. Like at some point you must have went, I'm over this struggle street. Yeah. What happened?
Oh my God. Yes, big time, big time. I was like, oh my God, I just want to now just forget about it and just be with the kids and not worry about it because I couldn't see it end, like a light at the end of the tunnel. And I think we all are in those situations that we can't, like, how are we going to dig out? How are we going to get out of this hole? You
Yeah.
know?
And how much, what I also struggle with is sometimes they come to you and they've got, $3,000 behind with their taxes, maybe, or their super. And some come with 30, and some come with 80,000. So at some point you have to go, I can't keep going. I can't keep getting bigger into this hole. So you
Yeah.
bought the business. Tell me, you bought Circles. That's the one that they did the number on you. So tell me that story because that's the best.
Yeah. So are we're not recording now.
Yeah, record
Oh,
the
we
whole.
are.
Why? You got to behave differently.
No, not at all. Me? Do
Oh,
you
we
know
can
who
chop
I am?
it. I know. Well, we can chop it. And that's why in the past, I used to get people on here and then I'd have a chat and then I'd push record and they'd go stiff, like they had to call the morgue to take their body away. I go, what happened? So, no, we are recording. Bad luck.
No, darling. No, darling. I'm the same. Doesn't matter where I am. I'm who I am. I don't put a facade for anyone. Anyway, so I bought Circles. I did have another salon 2 hours south of Perth. And I had that for 5 years. And then I was 7 months pregnant. And that's when I thought, I want to come back to Perth because I'm originally from Perth. So I thought, look, I could definitely buy an existing salon, which was Circles of Subiaco, and run my other salon, which was 2 hours away from the south of Perth. And I was 7 months pregnant and give birth. It can't be that hard, right? It's a piece of cake. I
And
mean,
that,
it's
yeah,
my kids
because
do it.
clearly that was
My kids do
baby,
it.
clearly that was baby one. Yeah.
Yes, that was definitely baby one. So when I took over the salon, 6 weeks later, I gave birth to my son. I came back and I realized two things. One, the financial figures were far from bloody correct.
Wow.
And two, I lost 6 of my staff members. So I came back after only having 10 days off after giving birth. I came back and the financial figures were completely fucked up. And I was naive when I bought it too, thought that I knew everything, but I knew absolutely nothing. And only had 2 staff members remaining. So I had to make that harsh reality check and thinking, you know what, I had to go back to work full time. And I prioritized Circles and my other salon before my own son. And that is the story. I just thought I had to make it work because failure was definitely not an option for me. I just thought, I put everything on the line in getting Circles to move back to Perth. And I had to make it work. So I think I was traveling. I had my clients down in Bunbury. So I was traveling up and down, up and down. And then after I think he was 18 months old, I thought I was going to go into a nut house. So I eventually sold my salon down south, and that was a really big relief. And then I really concentrated on the Subiaco salon.
So when you look back, and I've always been a person who just solved the problem, get on with it. Like, okay, this is what I need to do, and I can sense that in you. You just think, okay, fuck, I've got to do this. Right. Who's going to mind the baby? You can mind the baby. I can do the thing that I can do. And it wasn't until last year when I had a bit of a, I don't know what you'd call it, but mentally I fucking lost the plot, right? Unwell,
Yeah.
10 years of menopause, very poor brain health, and decided to clean everything up toxic wise. Found out I had a few challenges with toxins, right? So, 30 years of hairdresser and soaking your hands in perm solution in the 80s turns out that it caught up with me. So I had a like a really bad place. And through that, I've had to look back, which I never did. I never looked back at my childhood and why I am like I am. I never looked back at situations like getting a divorce when I was 40 because I just had to get on with it, right? When people were crumbling around me, the children needed me, my ex-husband wasn't coping as well, so I had to fucking cope. This is my story. It's not necessarily true, but I felt like I had to be the tough one, had to be the strong one, had to be the person who signed up. And what happened was I think it caught up with me. I think this people pleaser and being able to be the strong one has its strength, but emotionally, it caught up with me. So
Yeah.
it's fascinating to me, and I don't know, and you don't have to share as much as you like, but has there any, like I never had regret. That's a funny thing for me. I never regretted the fact that I did what I did. I never regretted that I had children at the age. I never regretted I don't regret because can't see the point, right? But
Yeah.
only last year did I look back and go, that makes sense. Now I can see why I did that. Now that makes sense. Not wishing that I did it differently because I don't wish differently. But do you look back and you go, fuck, well, that makes sense why you did what you did at the time, or you haven't unpacked it? Haven't needed to, maybe.
Look, I think, for me, me being active and exercising every day, it definitely, it was good for me to clear my mind. And I always said to my husband, even when we had no money, and we were on the bones of our ass, we always allocated that time to go on holidays and just sort of reset and thinking, okay, where do we want to go? And my husband and I were always like, okay, where do we want to be in 6 months' time, in 8 months' time? That's why I'm a real goal setter and make sure that we express our feelings and we really have that open relationship with not only our husbands, but, our team members or whatever it looks like. But it's really important to have that time out and remove yourself when you're in a bit of a rut, where I find that there is a lot of salon owners out there, they don't know how to remove themselves. And then when they do remove themselves, they can't actually remove themselves because they're always thinking about the salon. So they don't really have that total, this is time for me. And I think that's what I've always done. And I always will continue doing, but now my holidays is getting bigger and bigger and bigger and longer and longer since I've got older.
Yeah, but that is a really valid point because I didn't do that. I never stopped. I never stopped. And so
Yeah,
I think that's why the pile got so big and it's like the straw that broke the camel's back because it wasn't in my thinking. It wasn't in my parents' thinking. I'd never been taught to stop. I just kept going. And what we realize is
yeah,
that you just find another problem to solve. There's always going to be someone who's going to need you. So, like you said, and when even if you had a holiday and it was in your own backyard in a tent, still time out, love. And so that's what you did
yeah,
really well. But I think
yeah,
married to an Italian, whereas that there was never you rest when you're dead, you know? It was
yeah.
just
That's right. Or you'd be in the kitchen making pasta asciutta.
yeah, but that's right. So we
Don't
have
worry,
yeah,
I'm
so
Italian background.
yeah, so you did that really well. Whereas to be seen as to sitting still or resting was seen to be lazy. And I had too much to do. I
Yeah,
couldn't do that. So that is a lovely insight. So if anybody takes one thing away from this, I want you to understand that the reason Charlene didn't end up in the mental home and I did is because she
yeah,
learned how to rest, right? She learned how to
yeah. Allocated that time, that time, that allocated that it just, might be only an hour a day, but just to not look at your phone and just have that time for yourself and reset. Doesn't matter how, you can still think about what you're going to do, but you're going to just have a clear mind and you're just going to reset and be more focused on what your goals are today, next week, and for the future.
And that's also the most powerful thing you can do for your mental health and your physical health is to exercise. So get into the gym and kick the bag or, do
Yeah.
whatever you do. For me, it's an ice bath. I'm really enjoying 3 minutes in an ice bath. And that used to bring up a lot of anger for me, but now it doesn't. I just hop in there and I tell myself how wonderful I am. Whereas I used to hop in there and get angry about that shit. I don't anymore. So that's a release. Well, at least it's 3 minutes. I don't have to do a whole hour like you, but if you love it, good. So very good. I'm very pleased I found that in you. That's a lovely strategy. All right. So you buy the salon, you got rid of the Bundaberg one. Did you
Bunbury one, yeah.
sorry,
Bundaberg. The
Bundaberg.
Bunbury one, I got rid of that.
Yeah.
And so we I'm really concentrating, I'm in the premises where I bought it 18 months, and I just feel this bad karma. It must be this karma that she left me with this shit. And I actually, it was high rents then. I didn't really know my numbers weren't strong. The team thought, who is this girl? She's a nobody. She hasn't won any awards, because obviously Circles a long, long time ago, way before I bought it, it was, she was winning. I think she won Hairdresser of the Year once. It really elevated her brand. Paul McClurg used to work for her. And, so it was a really quite strong salon back then. And then obviously, she left and she went to work at the House of Ernest, which was only, 1 or 2 kilometers where I bought the salon. So pretty much all my goodwill that I bought went out the window as well. But, you live and learn, and, I had to pretty much start again.
And when she left and sold the business, she went straight to the House of Ernest and she worked there straight away?
Well, yeah, she did. Yeah. But, the funny thing was she actually moved to Bunbury and she asked me for a job in my Bunbury salon. I was like, no way.
Wow.
I just needed that cut. And then so she traveled. She was living in Bunbury and she traveled all that way, 2 hours on a train to go and work in the city and back, because she wanted to sell her salons, but she still wanted to work in a very up and coming salon, and they were one of the top salons as well. So that they were probably my major competition when I bought the salon. So I feel that karma goes a long way.
So if she'd given her a job in the Brumbury salon, she would have been there and she wouldn't have not been coming back to Perth and being your competitor, maybe.
No, but I would have given her the job for all the wrong reasons.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. And
Yeah,
that's a lovely lesson too, because you really stick to your values and your cause and you go, no, I can't do that. And so you didn't do it, which
yeah,
would have kept her
no,
out of the other place. So now you've
yeah.
paid for the salon, you've lost 16 members, you've got a brand new baby. Who's breastfeeding the baby?
I lost. Well, my husband had to give up work for the first 6 months, and then we put him in daycare, and then my mother-in-law looked after him as well. So after 6 months, my husband could not handle being a stay-home mum. So then he went back to work, and then and we needed the income. Obviously, Circles wasn't generating enough income, to let alone buy a coffee, let alone my wage. And and so then I was concentrating on the salon. He was concentrating on doing his thing. And then we just bounced our son all around. They're quite resilient when they're a baby. So my mother-in-law, bit of daycare, bit of everything, sometimes brought my client, but sometimes I brought my son into Circles. And, I still do clients today saying, oh my God, can you remember when I was holding your son? He was so small. And now, he is 29 and he actually works for me now. So they go, oh my God, I was changing your nappies. It's funny how, it comes around.
And I don't know about you, but I feel as young and happy and bouncy as I did back then. Like I just do.
Yeah,
But we've
yeah,
been
exactly.
just been here longer, yeah.
Yeah,
And so
yeah. So then,
over the
I
years,
moved out of my. I had to get out of my premises because the rent was killing me. So I actually got out of my premises, and I remember it was over a weekend. I thought, well, I can't keep on paying my rent because I just didn't have the money, and I was getting further and further back. So we found a premises just up the road, and we moved up the road and we ripped everything apart in one weekend. And that's when obviously, I wasn't paying my rent in where I signed my lease. So it gave me, by the time we went to court and worked out all the court fees, it gave me enough time to obviously move, set myself up again, have a little bit more revenue coming through, build the salon up, and obviously the rent was, less than half. And then I knew exactly that I wasn't trying to get away with not paying. I just had to stop paying and do something quite radical to move. And then when I moved, by the time we went to court and they, all the court costs and everything, I had to pay back 6 months or 8 months on the rent. But that was okay because then they gave me a payment plan. And then I did that because I didn't want to have a bad record as well because, but I knew it gave me time. I did that decision to buy me time.
Wow, what a good decision. And so going back to, I always think behind every great woman is a great man. Behind every great man is a great woman. I think there's always someone. So your husband would be like,
Yeah.
I don't know, but he would have just, sounds like he supported you. Like for him to go, well, I'll stay home and mind the baby. And then for him to go, fuck, I'm not staying home and mind this baby. Like he sounds like a man who he will get on board, but he'll also get off as well if he needs to. Would that be a fair description?
Yeah, he always tells, even now after being married for so long, he goes, Can you stop talking to me like, I'm one of your team members? I'm not, I go, it doesn't matter. Happy wife, happy life. You should know these after, 26 years or 28 years of marriage, for God's sake. No, but, he's really good. He's got a fabulous business as well, and he travels a lot 6 months of the year. I travel a lot, so it works out well. I think that's why the key to a happy marriage when you don't see your husband a lot.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Absolutely couldn't agree more.
You have to have your own life. You have to. Individuals that been married for so long, I think if one person is just always just with whatever they do, I mean everyone's different, but just me personally, I had to have my goals and my life, and he had to do it himself because he knew at that early age, and after 6 months he was just like, this is bullshit, I'm not doing this. He had to cook. What's for dinner? You've been doing this all day. But, mind you, in that 6 months, I've got him to do so many things for the shop as well because I couldn't afford, paying extra things to do anything. So I got him to do that as well. So, but we aren't good working together. I can tell you that much. We hate working with each other.
Yeah, because there'd be two leaders, and that's not going to work. Simon and I are the same. We use Jess, my PA. So he goes to tell me something. I go, tell Jess, because Jess will get me to do it, and I'll do it nicely for her. But if you ask, I think, piss off. Why am I doing that for you? It's your fucking problem. So we use a mediator, and she's just brilliant. She's so lovely, and it just works better. Like I don't want to be told what to do by him, and he doesn't want to be told what to do by me. So it works. You can work it out. I think what's really interesting is that you just accept that you are the beast that you are and he's the beast that he is. And I accept that too. I just think, okay, all right, I'm not this gentle, kindly, little soft, meek and mild person. And that's what Simon loves about me, but it also drives him mad. And I like the fact that I can't push him around. He's not a Ken doll. He's not smooth. He's got balls. And when he wants them, he uses them, So I have to accept that too. But sometimes it doesn't go in your favor. And so you give the person a chop out and then you go, like your partner said to you, he goes, all right, that's enough now. I'm done with this raising the child. Who else can do this gig? So I think both, they're both, I would say, A-type personalities. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, so it was good. So then we were in that building. It was a older building style. We were in that building for 10 to 13 years. We were in that building until we were still renting because even in that time we still had no money. And I remember I had a bad landlord, and she was just a bit of a nightmare. And then one of my clients said, look, I'm a developer and we're just developing some plans just up the road. It was a supermarket and it got burnt down. And he said, why don't you try to buy this commercial property. And I was like, oh my God, do you think we could? We could. He goes, look, you just have to put this deposit down, blah, blah, blah. So, we actually bought our Circles of Subiaco premises before we even bought our house. So we bought it off the plans in 2004. And 4 years later, we moved into our property, and I bought shop 2 and 3. And then when we moved into that property, after 5 years, we obviously were running out of room. And that's when I bought shop 1. So now we have shop 1, shop 2, and shop 3 in the Circles in Subiaco salon. Yeah, so which is about just over 250 square meters.
That's big. Yeah, that's big.
36 chairs.
Wow, that's amazing.
And all full.
Yeah. And so when you look back now, there was obviously a turning point, and it must have been when you got out of that place that you were renting. There seems to be some bad energy or juju that you left behind.
Yeah.
I don't know. Do you think?
Mm-mm. Oh my God, yes. I just felt that I could be myself. It was actually so weird. And I haven't talked about this for such a long time, because once I moved and I got into this, really old, beautiful building, it was a heritage building, and we just put crap together, just the old chairs that I could just rip out, the old mirrors. And, for the 10 to 13 years, it was good. I could see that I was making money because I put aside, obviously, knowing that, eventually I would want to buy my own property. But I felt like I could be me again. I just felt that maybe the brand, when I moved, I actually thought maybe I should not call it Circles either, but I ended up just keeping the brand. It was easier because I would never name myself a salon. I just wouldn't do it. I wouldn't say Sharlene for hair or something like that. I'm just not into that, because it's all about the brand. It's about the team. It's not about yourself.
And Circles is such
That's just
like a circle is just forever. A wedding ring goes around and never ends. There's something it's not square of Subiaco, like it has to be circle, don't you think? Like it's a really
it's like we go around in circles a lot, but we come out at the end.
I think it's a lovely image, I think, Circles. So yeah, but there's something lifted in you mentally, I think, when you moved, yeah? Like you said, it's about
definitely.
Yeah, and left that bad juju behind.
Yeah, definitely. And then we moved in 4 years later. So 2008, we would have moved into our new premises. And that's when I had this random phone call from the original owner that didn't do the right thing by me. And she, she had her own salon by then, because we're talking 10, we're talking about 14 years later, right?
Was her salon
So she rings.
Her salon was in the salon that she got of her own again after she
Oh,
started.
it was in Perth.
Was in Perth.
Yes, it was in Perth. But she had to wait 5 years, obviously, to buy another salon, because that was the contract when I bought Circles, right?
What about
14 years?
She wasn't allowed to work less than 3 kilometers, but she did, and you didn't take her to court over that? You just let that go?
Oh, I did. I was pregnant at the time, and I didn't have the money to, this is the problem. I didn't have the money. My uncle was a lawyer, and I said to him, what can we do? And he said, well, let's just try to stop the advertising. Now, ads, we never had social media. We had the one-page newspaper ads. And that salon in the city was doing the big one, here she is, one page. And I just wanted that to stop, because I knew I didn't have the money to stop her. And when we went to the lawyers and we had just some letters going back and forth, they said, at the end of the day, you can never stop if someone's, earning money and goodwill, doesn't matter, which is bullshit. I don't know why we have that in the contract anyway. But I did stop the ads going forward. and they just stopped the ad straight away when they got the lawyer's letter. But, by the time it goes through the lawyers, most of her clients already knew that she was in the city anyway.
And
Do
it's
you know
not
what I mean? It was just,
and it's Perth, getting a haircut in Perth, it's not like there's thousands and thousands of salons. Let's be honest, the higher end of skill set, there's not many. And you only got to
yeah,
run into your clients in
yeah,
the supermarket and they go, "Oh, Charlene, I work over there now." Like it's not that hard. I
yeah.
know. Anyway, you had a little bit of a win. So then years and years
Yeah.
later, after the 5-year mark, she went and got her own business again. Now she's back
Got her
in.
own, she got her own business, and she was on the other side of the river. She was in South Perth. I was in Subiaco still. So I moved into my new premises, and I think I was in the premises for maybe a year. And then out of the blue, they said, she wants to talk to you on the phone. I used to sometimes see her at hair events, hair expo and everything like that. Used to say hello, but I wasn't going to have a drink with her, for God's sake. And so then she rang me and she just said, "I'm just letting you know I'm closing the salon, and I really want I've recommended my top senior and my top junior to come and come and see you, and you have to give him a job because he's brilliant, but also I'm giving you, we had client records then. I'm giving you all my client records." And I went, "Oh my God, what's happened to your salon? Why are you closing down?" She just said, well, I'm jumping the gun a bit, but she just said, yeah, I'm closing the salon because obviously, you know, her husband, committed suicide because of other areas because she was a creative. She didn't know anything about her business. So, in one way, she was actually an amazing person. And now looking back when I'm older, it wasn't her. She just thought everything was all nice and fluffy at the back end of her business because she was a creator. She wouldn't even know how much she took in one day. That's what of a creator she was. She was an amazing hairdresser. She was just incredible hairdresser. And that's when, she rang me and she said, "Look, I just, obviously, the tax department's closing my business tomorrow and you can have all my client cards." And she left Perth and, so the senior and the junior comes in for an interview with the little, those suitcases that the travel suitcases that you put on the international plane. He comes in, zips it all up, opens it up. There's client cards full and says, "This is my client card and I know all the clients." And it took us about 3 or 4 days to ring all the clients and saying, "This salon is closed now in South Perth, but, everyone's recommended us and we've got the top senior and the junior following us."
Wow.
Yeah, so it's pretty incredible. And those clients are still coming with us today.
Yeah, funny. Wow. So
Karma.
what an
Sure.
unusual turn of events, love. What an unusual turn of events. Yeah.
I know. I mean, I could not believe it. I was like, when he walked in, I was like, "What's he doing with a suitcase? I mean, does he think that he's going to start work right now? I thought he had his equipment in his bag." I was like, "What the hell? He's got his suitcase. Where's he going?" I mean, what the hell? I didn't
Right.
even meet him. Like,
But I think what you probably haven't, and I'm looking at it from the outside, but you could have behaved really badly. Like you could have been so mean to her. You could have never spoken to her or said hello to her at events. You could have really a nasty grudge to her and you could have spoken badly. But I don't get that feeling. I think you just thought, well, fucking shit happens and I'm just going to deal with it the best I can and you move on. And so had you behaved so poorly, I don't think she would have thought to gift you the clients. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think she could have just put those cards in the bin. So I think it was really nice of you to just go,
I
well,
really do think she didn't know. She didn't know. I just know when, even from the very beginnings when I bought it off her, she just is
no
a true creator. She got her husband to run everything and he dodged the books. And that's where, when I first took over, that's when I knew that the financial figures were from the very beginning was wrong. And it was him. She wasn't smart enough to do that, not being in a disrespectful way, but she just
Wasn't interested.
he was the dodgy one. He was a loose cannon, and that's why he took his life, because obviously, all her ex-staff members, wasn't getting paid properly. And she thought that he was, because she didn't do any payroll, and he took his life. And because they never got paid super or paid out holidays or sick and everything like that. And he thought that would have been a lot easier. I mean, everyone knew it wasn't like not, it was very common knowledge, because everyone, I had a lot of ex-staff members that coming from her saying, well, I don't know, I've been working there for 3 or 4 years and I don't even have a super account. And I was like, okay, this looks like a whole lot of mess to me.
Yeah, wow. I couldn't do that.
Mm.
I couldn't. And as much
Oh,
as
how could you sleep at night? Well,
well,
obviously he couldn't sleep at night, could he?
no, not eventually. He eventually got the better. And he took his life, yeah? How old was he when he took his life?
Yeah. Oh, I reckon he would be in his 50s. He hung himself on a tree.
Wow.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, it was really sad, because, you don't want anyone to do that. But obviously she started to realize, fuck, this guy is, after, being married for so long, you really don't know who her husband was.
Yeah, very sad. Very sad. You wouldn't wish that on anyone, would you? Very sad. However, I think,
Yeah.
if you look back, you got to be able to sleep with yourself. You got to be able to go to sleep at night. And even though things don't go your way, I think the way you behave. So you could have been, and even though she didn't understand the books and all of that, love, you could have been mean to her and she would have still understood that. But you weren't. You just, like I think some people get so hooked up on revenge or what's right or what's not. And I think the world isn't fair a lot of times, and it isn't how it should be. And what we see and what we think is and what it is two different things. I think it's how you deal with diversity. I say all the time, life doesn't get any easier. I can tell you that there. We just get better at dealing with the hard, and we just accept the hard.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
So tell me now,
Oh,
I see you, because I reached out and saw your name. Now you're everywhere. Every time I switch on the phone, there she is again. There she's again. So the algorithm goes, that chick likes that chick. I'm perfectly happy with that. I love watching what you do because it's just brilliant. Like I saw a lady with really long, she said silver hair, and you
oh yeah.
gave her a perm, and I love that.
Yeah.
I think it's really, and she had really strong opinions about her hair not being grey with silver. And I think I love that. So how many hours a week would you be working on the floor at the moment? Like, do you do clients, or do you just training, or what's a week in the life of Sharlene?
Well, I would definitely look, before I started my shadowing program, I would work on the floor two days a week, but I do a lot of overflow. So I sort of run the floor, help the guys to hit their targets, and then I would do the overflow, and I would only have a small amount of clients. But I think just from the beginning of this year, I started my TikTok. I obviously do a few perms, and the perms, I'm bringing back the perms in 2024, that's for sure, because what surprised me, because I used to always perm hair extensions and perm wefts and perm mini micro beads and perm tapes. And then when I started to put this on my social media, everyone was like, wow, I didn't even think about doing it. Why don't you just buy curly hair extensions? Well, as we all know, everyone's natural curl formation is completely different. And for you as a stylist to actually mimic the same curl that you have on your head and then perm that extends and show it blends in absolutely seamless, that's what I absolutely love doing, because it's so hard. And plus, no one bloody does it anymore. So my prices can just go up high. I only have to do
She
one or
loves it
two.
because she loves it because it's so hard. I love it because it's so hard. I think it's so good. Nothing comes from things that are easy. Everything good comes from hard. So now, and then people are
Yeah.
going, well, I don't have extensions. Can you perm my hair for me? Is that what happens?
Yes, that's right. So, with the perming, I do a few perms. I have there's 52 team members across both locations, and I'm in the Subiaco salon more. But I do a lot of overflow. Help the girls. I want everyone to reach their targets. So then they can take home more money. So I help them help them with consultations, do their perms, or help them with color consultations with all my up and coming emerging stylists that maybe don't have um, uh, enough confidence in consultations, because we are a big transformation salon as well. Yeah, but I'm usually in the salon in Thursday, Fridays, and Saturdays, and then on Tuesdays I'm in my other salon having meetings.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
define what overflow is. So is overflow extra people or is overflow, I don't know what overflow is. What's overflow?
Okay, so overflow is like it's sort of for our salon, it's all about consultation and the conversations we have. So obviously, if someone's booked in for a half a head of foils and they've decided to have a full head of foils, we do that day. But then the cut and blow dry obviously is not going to be at that time allocated to that stylist, and we will always say we can do it, and we float them as a client. And then if no one else can do it, then I will do the overflow of that client. So I will blow dry, cut, um, try not to color, but I definitely help the girls overflow, or if they're running late, if a client runs late and they're going back into it, we want to have, because it's such a big team, we want to make sure that it's seamless and the clients aren't waiting at that time. And then when one of my girl goes, look, I'm running a little bit late because you had a full head foils, but Charlene's going to do it, they were like, oh my god, that's amazing, yeah, I don't mind, I'll have Charles to do my hair. So it works really well. And this is when we can get that extra revenue coming through to the salon as well.
And that way you don't take appointments and I can't ring up and get you to cut my hair, but I could be lucky and get in the overflow.
Damn you could. No.
What if I had a perm, I could.
No, just joking. No, I do have a handful of request clients that I've had for a long time. Yeah, yeah. So I would have, I never do any floor work on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, just have meetings and day off and in and out of salons. But then Thursday, Friday, and Saturdays, yeah, I will do a little bit of hair just to, it's good to get some content and help the girls and, just be there for the team.
And that's a lovely energy, isn't it, really? Like to be in a salon. I love hair salons. It's a great place.
Yeah.
It's like a nightclub in the day with hair on the floor.
Oh, darling, you should come to our place. It is definitely a nightclub. You don't come to Circles if you want a relaxing time, not with 36 chairs full and the music and everything. It's more definitely a club scene.
So good.
And that's okay. We look, we have older clientele, but we do have a lot of the younger demographics coming into the salon, and it's a high energy, buzzy salon, and that's what even a lot of new clients that come in and they think, wow, I have never seen a salon like that. It's buzzy, it's full of energy, and people like that. So that instead of, we just not that hello, talk softly. We all loud as anything. I probably am the loudest in the salon, but someone's got to do it.
Yeah, and I think that's honoring who you are, I think, I think it's one of my mantras is it's okay for me to make noise. I'm worthy and adequate to say what I feel needs saying. And I think that's also when I had my meltdown last year, that's coming back from why do I want to try and be in a way that fits in when I don't have to. And so I'm okay and I'm worthy. So, there's a lot of unpacking in that. And I think absolutely some salons are very gentle and quiet. And that's good because that's how the owner is. So you don't have to be a noisy little motherfucker like me or you.
100%. Yeah.
It's just about
Yeah.
So let's wind the clock forward. 50 or more team members. I'm not sure how old you are, but I know your children are adults now. So your son works with you. What about the other? Is there more than one children, Charlene? Do they work with you, all
Yeah,
of them?
and I have a young son. He's in a band and he's a drummer and he's in a couple of bands in Perth and he just did a tour with his other band, Dear Sunday, and his band is late 90s. And yeah, and then he manages his own, it's called Russ Management, and he's got about six bands that he manages as well. So he really wants to get into that management. So, in the early days, and he is in the early days of running his business, you have no money and you're broke and you're thinking, is there a light at the end of the tunnel? And I'm like, oh my God. And sometimes I say something and he goes, Mum, why are you so negative? You had nothing and look at you now, So I have to sometimes zip up and say
Yes.
nothing because I do understand where he's coming from, but we try to support them as much as we can.
So two boys, the band boy and the other
Yeah.
one in business. What is he doing, hairdressing, or is he doing
So
other?
no. So he started working for me through COVID. He was living in Japan for like 6 years, Declan. And when it was COVID, he said to me, I'm coming home, but I'm going to get married to a beautiful Japanese girl. And I went, amazing. So they both came over, and then he did marketing degree in university, and he did say to me, maybe I should come and work for you. And I was like, definitely not, because we both actually clash. I don't know if it's the oldest child, but I think the oldest child, I don't know, I kept on clashing. And it did take about 12 months for us to be aligned a little bit. And now, he's a huge part of the Circles brand, and yeah, it's pretty amazing what he does. So he does, all the back end stuff. He does he's definitely, since he's come on board, he's definitely elevated the brand to the next level. What we don't do, because like I said, I knew my numbers and everything, but we're talking about another side, and this is where we're showing some of our salon owners in our shadowing program on how we can save time but then work very efficient in the back end, and no one even they don't even look at the back of their website and things like that. So it's really beneficial for all of us in our industry.
Yeah, so good. So good. Just lovely to see
Yeah.
someone who's still doing it, still enjoying it, happy to own the bits you do well. Happy to say that's not my joy, but I've got someone onto that. And so where do you see yourself in another 10 years? You're still going to be doing the overflow? Are you going to travel more? What's the plan? What's the plan for Circles?
Well,
How does it move on to the next? I don't know. Like I always think about
yeah.
this decade, I'm about to come into the 60s now, so that's a whole new decade, and I think that will be different to the 50s for me. So I always think about
Yeah.
what do I want in this decade? So how do you think about it? Do you look far ahead?
I think I'm really getting a procedure and a structure right now in place. So I already know where I want to see myself in 10 years. I definitely want to get, people to buy into the business, because I don't think I could to sell it, because, that is my life and I wouldn't want like anyone else to do it now. And it's a different story too, with obviously my son being a big part of the Circles brand. But I mean, for myself personally, yes, I'm setting up, structures now so I can have longer holidays. Like this year, I'm away in Europe for 7 weeks, and next year I want to be away 8 or 9 weeks, and then the maybe 3 months that I can remove myself out of the salon, 3 months at a time, and still making sure that the revenue is still there, and making sure the less and less that I'm in the salon, it's making still growth year on year on year on year, like we have been doing. So, I'm doing this exercise and putting strategies ahead so then I can set myself up for the future. And whoever buys in, If it's my team members, how does that look like as well?
Yeah. And I think when you are such a bubbly personality, I know there's an energy that wherever I am, things will just pump along and do really well because there's a certain personality who likes to be around us. And so when you're there and the energy's so good, then they do or engage more. And I think when there isn't that
Yeah,
energy, it is missing. So I think that that's probably the challenge of a person who has this wonderful energy. Like you come into a room and you light up a room, and so that they feed off that. So you're right. I
mm,
think to be looking at when you're not there, where does it come from? Because it's a very big orchestra you're conducting, I think, like if you think of you at the start, you're not playing any instruments, but you're orchestrating all the instruments to be.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. And it's funny because when I go on holidays for, a long time, most of my team just like, oh, I can't wait to have you back. I've missed you so much. And I think it's because I bring a lot of energy into the salon, and that's what people like. That's what my team likes. That's what the clients want. They've, even though it's a high energy salon, it just goes up a couple of notches when I'm in there.
Does and probably I don't know, like all my life I've been told calm down, settle, wait for your turn to speak, like at school, you think, oh, I just want to say something. And I don't know about you, but I was taught that you got to wait your turn. And whereas when it is in your salon, there's no turn waiting. Fucking say what you want and do what you want. And people, you found or you've developed a place where you're applauded for that. And that's really lovely, I think. I know myself, it's really lovely to just be me and people accept you. That's really nice. But it hasn't always been like that for me. I think I've struggled to try and fit in or behave in a certain way. And now I don't give a shit. I'm happy. It's good.
Yeah, because I think when you get older, you just think, if you like me, you like me. If you don't, I really don't care. That's your problem.
But how do you teach that to a younger person? Like if there's someone who goes, mate, I'd love to be like her, but I'm so busy pleasing people and I'm so busy. What advice would you give to a salon owner who's trying to keep all their team member happy and they're trying to keep the husband when they get home happy and they're trying to, do you know what I mean? Like they're struggling. If you think about where you were back then and struggling with how do you get it all done and how do you please people and what would be your advice? I know what mine is, but what would be your advice to someone who's in struggle street?
Yeah. Well, look, I think the turning point, we always want to please everyone. We want to please our staff because if we don't, if the staff's not happy, the team's not happy, then we're going to have more bloody problems. If our husbands, I think keeping that communication with all channels very open with the team as well as that. But I think I learned early on my weaknesses. And I remember we went to Bali for a holiday when the kids were really small, and it was a Christmas trading, and we were making good money. And by the end of January, I had no money in the account, and that's when my husband said to me, like I'm not blaming you on organizing the financials, but why don't we get someone that really knows the back end and we can have a better structure to one financial and maybe hire people that you're not good at in the very early ages, because I think as a salon owner we feel like we need to know it all, we need to do everything, we need to, we are salon owners, we are leaders, but if we can't do something, we beat ourselves up for it. And it's not right. And that's when you can go down and down and down, and then your confidence isn't going up. And I think from early on, I employed people that was better than me and accepted that on very early in my business that this is what I had to do. And, even when I had a financial girl coming to me and she just said, let's pay this off, let's get a separate tax account so we work out exactly. So I sat down with her, sat down with my accountant, really understood how to read a profit and loss sheet at the early stages, like did training and back to basics. And then I sent myself to university and did a business course where, I left school at year 10. So no, I had no idea until I put myself into university as well, part-time. So I think we all need to help ourselves, but we need to recognize our weaknesses as well.
And then when you own your weaknesses or the things you don't like, generally they are your weaknesses, and you find people who do them better than you just need to know how to check. That's all. So this is a really classic example. I was struggling with something. I can't remember what the task was. And it was about putting a rental property on Airbnb, and not just Airbnb, onto Vibro and bookings.com, and on four things, right? And I struggle with that technically, how to marry those up. So there's an app you can get called Shmooboo, and it puts all of them in it, because what you don't want is someone books it in Airbnb and someone books it in bookings.com, and then you've got two people trying to stay in your house, right? So to me, I was a bit anxious about that. Anyway, I said to Simon, I need you to help me with whatever. And he said, no, you do it. He said, you got to learn it. I said, I don't actually. I said, no, it's fine. I'll just pretend you don't exist and I'll find a solution. So it's fine. You don't want to help me. I was really mean. And I said, you know what? I never ask you to cut your hair. I'm not saying, well, you need to learn to cut your hair. Like, stop it. Like, I have skills,
Yeah.
you have skills. You don't want to help me, so fuck off. But I'll find a solution. And I did. I went on Airtasker and I found this lovely
Oh,
spec,
yeah.
and she set it up for me. And you know what? It cost me $550. And she's done it brilliantly. So all four channels come in. Like, it was above my pay grid. It was above my skill set. And I just thought, I don't want to learn it. I don't want to learn to do that. It would take me 2 weeks. I'd still make a mistake. So I found a solution. But it was his resistance, because he's sick of helping me. And I don't blame him.
Yeah, yeah, for you to actually do something and think, I'll find a solution now.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
he's saying
that's
no to me meant that I had to dig into, okay, well, what if I didn't have him? What if I was a single girl? He said, that's very mean. I said, no, I don't mean it like that. I just mean it's a fair point. You shouldn't have to save
yeah,
me. It's a fair point. So it
yeah,
wasn't hard, but I just thought, you know what? Okay, I'll just pretend you don't exist. And that probably came out not very nice. But, but it got me a result, didn't it? I found this girl. I put a thing on there. I said, I don't know how much it's got to cost. I offered 300, and she said, I think 350 would be enough. And I end up paying her more because it was a bigger job. And I said, I don't do a shit job, do a good job and charge me more. And she did. And it's brilliant. So, I think the answer
I'm
is
happy.
yeah.
You pay for what you get, right? You pay for what you get. It's exactly the same. Like, when I just put that perm on TikTok, she had long, thick hair. I mean, used 5 bottles of solution, and people were saying, how much did you pay? How much did you pay? She paid between $900 to $1,000 for that perm. And, by the time it was, it took 6 hours of my time, of my experience. And I think we just, as salon owners and salon team, this is one of the things I actually stress to my team is, none of my, they charge what they are worth. And most team members, they are hesitant. They don't like charging the client. And that is one of the biggest downfall in our industry.
Yeah, it's actually sad. And I think that when you realize your true value, and I would say that 900 is not a lot for the joy that that woman got out of it,
Yeah,
not to mention your
yeah,
skill set and the time it took. So, I think she got an absolute bargain. So, but that's
yeah,
where,
exactly.
yeah, when people are still prepared to go to, someone who cuts their hair at home who's got no skill, really, no vibe, the
Yeah,
day the day they opened up on their own. And that's not everybody, but there are people that, work for themselves and they don't ever train anymore. They have less and less skill set, and it diminishes over the time. And some people, and they're entitled to, would just like some hair on the floor, please. So what they should say is, how much hair do you want on the floor? And really, that's not what you're delivering, hair on the floor, is it? It's
yeah,
it's the skill set comes from the
exactly.
hair that you leave on the head, not the hair on the floor. So, yeah, that's a lovely place to end.
Exactly.
Thank you for your time today. I'm
Yeah,
mindful of how busy you are, and I think there's a lot of things you could do. I think that I love just watching what you wear. I think there's lots of things you could do, and I think a hairdressing foundation is an incredible a place to be. Like the people skills you have, the mind reading skills you have, the way that you can untangle a situation and people can leave with an understanding of their own behavior as well as others. It's a fucking magical thing, isn't it? I think, to be a hairstylist.
And yeah, and I mean, I love it. I just wish that I was at this stage, but be a bit younger, because I have to put a 10-year plan ahead, and every day it just becomes more and more. I've always enjoyed it, but now it's just accelerated to the next level. I'm thinking, oh, I want time just to stop, because I absolutely love it. I love my life, and I love being around the team and having a big team, and really showing our industry that you can be successful, that you can really be the person you want to be. You can be successful, but your team can be successful at the same time as well.
Yeah, you really have to. I say, not me first. I say me now. You've got to find some time for you now, right? And it's really important to be me now. And in every day, at some point, you need to find some me now time. And in every month, you find some me now, and every year. And so, yeah, lovely shining example. So what we'll do in the show notes, we'll put in if someone wants to get in touch with you to do your mentoring and shadowing program. And yeah, just wish you all the best, lovely girl.
You so much. Thank you, and enjoy your time. You're going to go have a massage now, then now that you live in Bali.
Yeah, I found this.
That's what
Yeah,
I was doing.
almost. I'm not every day, but I'd probably have 4 or 5 hours a week at $12 an hour. And then you tip them 15, they're
Yeah,
wrapped. Come in, miss.
yeah,
It's just one of the things that I think I really particularly like here is the way that you can just freely move about things that I love, which is, eating organically, having massages,
yeah,
the
yeah,
no rules, the riding a motorbike and someone with 14 chickens going that way and just let them go. And, a dog.
yeah,
We got a dog here that comes in, Brian. You turn around, you go, oh, there's Brian. He's sitting down. Simon's giving him a smacko. And then you go, I'll give him another one. And Brian's gone. Like it's just, I don't know, it's really
yeah,
flows here. It's a very easy place. I struggle to drive a car at home without getting tooted at, but somehow I seem to be able to work it out here. And yeah, it's nice. I like
yeah.
it. I don't know if it's forever,
I
Charlotte.
love Bali.
Yeah, but for now,
Yeah, you don't
yeah.
ever? You don't think so? Like next 5 years, you could be there,
Oh,
definitely.
I can't see me ever not living here. That's how I feel today. But I don't know if that will change. When I first moved from Melbourne, I went from the country. I couldn't imagine living in the city. And then I was in the city, and then we went back out to the country. And then when the kids grew up, we went back to the city. And every one of those stages, I was happy to do the move because that's what I needed at the time. But I am a girl who does like change. So then we moved up to Queensland. I thought I'll go there for 6 months and renovate a property. Yeah, I don't think it was 6 months, 3 months over the winter, and moved to Queensland. I thought, fuck, why would you not live in Queensland? This is amazing. I couldn't believe the steadiness of the weather and how lovely it was to wake up really early and walk on the beach with no shoes. And I was fascinated. And I could never imagine that I didn't want to not live right there. And then of course we ended up here.
Yeah,
I don't put a lot of value on I want to do this forever because I am a girl who does like change. I do. I love I don't know, like you said, I love the difficulty of selling up all your contents or giving them away. I don't know how
yeah,
many things I posted to people. Here's a straightening on. I just posted it down to you. I thought you might like it. Here's this, and I just posted things to people because I didn't get a lot of joy out trying to sell things and people coming to my house. I worked out very quickly that if you take a photo of the cupboard, your plates or whatever, and then you put it on Marketplace, free to good home today, they come and they pack it up and they take it away. But if you try and sell it, you get very little for it. And if you take it to the op shop, you have to take it and do all that work. So there were so many,
pain.
yeah, I can't be bothered. I'd rather give it to someone. So everybody that I got into the apartment to look at my glasses or plates, and I'd say, do you need an ironing board? And they'd go, oh, you sure? Take it home. What about a pop plan? And they'd be getting the lift and I'd be pushing them in the lift because they just landed in our They just landed in our country and they had nothing. Fascinating.
Yeah, good on you. And that makes a difference for them. That's their little break that they got something for free. And karma comes around, as we all know.
Karma comes around. I just the joy I got from gifting a young couple in their 30s who've travelled from another country. You know, there's a couple I remember from Sri Lanka and places like that, and they were just happy to take anything, and I was just so happy for them to take it because it was less work for me, and you paid for it when you paid for it, so it didn't owe me anything. I didn't think it did anyway, and I was so
Yeah.
pleased that almost nothing went in the rubbish bin. Almost nothing. I was so pleased.
Wow, that is fantastic.
Yeah.
How great.
So who knows? I'm trying not to gather things as I go. I'm trying to have less and less clothes. I've got almost no clothes. I've got some in Melbourne when I go home, and then I've got a couple of things made here because my hair color is not where it's going to be, so I don't know fucking what color suits me. But I just want to have less and less clothes. And here you wear a bathers. Well, actually, don't even wear the
So
bathers.
there, even when you go out, just a nice slip dress, that's all you need. It's great. Love it. So I'll definitely get in contact with you next year when are you going to Hair Festival or not?
No, the next time for me back to Australia was the second grandbaby's coming very early in September 24. So I'll go home and see the new baby, and then I'll come back, and then I'll go back when her husband goes back to work, and I can help with when he's not there in the day. So that'll be really nice. So yeah.
Yeah. Oh, beautiful. So then I will definitely get in contact with you when I'm in Bali with the girls, and we'll definitely have to catch up then.
Yeah, I look forward to it. Be very good. I see more people here than I do when I'm at home. My
I
nephew.
can imagine.
Yeah, my nephew just turned 40 and I thought, oh, will I go to his party? And it's 2 hours drive from where I was staying and then I had to find somewhere. And I thought, no, you know what, Sam, I won't come. And then he said, I'm in Bali, Auntie Lisa, for 10 days. So I've been and seen Sam. Vanessa McDonald, she's in our country. She said, I'm on my way to Bali tomorrow. I'm here for 9 days. And the lovely thing is when they come here, they've got nothing else to do. They're on holiday. So they're really happy. So, and if I'd
Yeah,
gone to Sam's 40th birthday, how much time would I have spent with Sam? None, because it was his birthday. You know what I mean? So
Sam.
when they come here, it's I really like it when people reach out, and if I haven't got time, I say no, or if I don't can't be bothered, I don't. But it's just I just get on my little scoopy and down I go and pull over and I chat and talk to people. So it's actually better for me. I see more people here than I do when I'm at home. So that's interesting.
Wow, that's good. Good on you. Thank you so much. I better go back into the salon now. I've got a couple of meetings and go from there.
Go well, my friend. Go well. I hope you enjoyed that conversation and had a laugh along the way. If you want some more information on what was just discussed, or even just to connect with me, just check out the links in the show notes. Also, it would mean the world to me if you would like and share this podcast so that we can continue to grow together. I'll see you all next week.